Woo! It has been quite the roller coaster ride since my last video in November. Bitcoin did indeed break past 100,000. You can see we're chilling at 104,000 at the moment. It topped out around 108,000, and we are resurging to the upside at this moment. Boomer altcoins went on face-melting rips. Look at this. Here's ADA, Cardano. Ripped up about 300% in December. We got XRP did a freaking mind-numbing 576%, and it's still going. What else have we got? We got HBAR. What'd this boy do? Blasted up 800%? Good grief. The getting has been good. Now, we did experience some turbulence over the last few weeks. This is the collective altcoin market, Total 3. We got about a 26 to 27% pullback overall, and some altcoins suffered much worse. I'm holding several that suffered much worse. But here's the thing. If you're not emotionally stable enough to handle seeing your hard-earned money get nuked into oblivion, then this market is not for you. Go play with your stocks. Go play with your piddly 4% yearly returns and CD money markets and whatnot. But if you're interested in making generational wealth, the type of money that will free your children, then this is exactly where you want to be. We don't have time for 4% returns. There's just not enough time in life. The crypto market moves 4% while I'm taking a whiz. Okay? So take that into an account. And just a quick little disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. So when you do lose it all, that's on you. You can see we've already thrusted through the resistance to the upside. That's what I'm saying. Like, a few weeks of pain and we're already back to almost neutral. Now, I will show, some of these, like AVAX, let's say. Let's pull up that one. That's one of my go-tos. This boy suffered quite the dumpathon. It came down like 40%, negative 40%. That's almost half your money just vaporizing if you got in up here. And I do know some people that decided to get in at about that point. That sucks. I mean, that's the price you pay to play, okay? Now, I've been trying to get people to get in for like 2 years now. And this thing, like anywhere down here, anywhere in this price action over here, or even, way down here a couple years ago, you could have gotten in. And you'd be up fatly to the tune of, let's just take a gander. 300%, not bad. I think this is going way higher. You can see this boy's already been to like well over 100, about 150 or so. So, we're just coiling up to get ready to blast. See, that's the banana thrust phase right there. That's what we're waiting for. And I mean, you can see we're just like heating up. We're just getting warmed up. So, and look at this. It's in a clean wedge. It's on top of support. We're about to break out to the upside. Just have some faith here. With this inauguration coming up, Trump getting in, super pro crypto. I mean, come on. We're about to go bananas. All right, so what I want to do is just zoom way out. Let's look at some macros. This is the life cycle of Bitcoin. You can see there's some price action, like crazy price action down here, but I decided not to look at all that because it makes everything up top look real small. Because it's called diminishing returns. As more money comes into something and as it matures, it's not going to do the face melting rips that it did like when it was a brand new baby. So, but anyways, you can see I put vertical lines on each election from November, each election cycle. And you can see regardless of who gets elected, whether it's a lib or someone more based, it doesn't really matter in the market realms. The markets tend to rip on new power rotations. So you can see Obama, fatty blast for about a year, after the election. Trump, giant banana rip. Same thing, about almost exactly a year long rip. Biden, smaller rip, and then there was some like strange turbulence that threw everyone off. I was in the game up here, and that really sucked because it was like this crazy double top type cycle. But anyways, regardless, it ripped for several months after it, and here we have Trump yet again. We're on the second month. I mean, from the election. It's not even been inaugurated yet, but what do you think is going to happen? I mean, this chart kind of speaks for itself. It's like most people that say this time is different get torn a new one. It's just the way it is. Markets are very cyclical. They tend to repeat, not exactly, but they always rhyme. And what's crazy is like short-term price action will really like throw you off. But when you can just kind of zoom out and look at it, you're just like, okay, we could dump 40-50% tomorrow, and it would look like one of these wicks. Like, let's just take a gander at some of these wicks. Like, if you were to buy at the top of this little red candle, that boy dumped 34%. That would have sucked at the time in that month. That was the month of January, where we're at right now. So, I mean, that was January after the election. And if you would have sold there, you would have just been like, oh, frick. I mean, the gains if you panic sold down there. I mean, you would have missed out on basically a 2,500% move. So let's not get too caught up in the minute. Let's think macro. We're about to banana rip. I mean, we could make it to 200,000. It's not that crazy. I mean, if you look at some of these other rips out of the election, I mean, and remember, diminished returns are real, but going to 200,000 is still accounting for diminished returns. I should give you an example. So from this cycle low to the cycle top, it was about, what is that, like 2,000%. Whoop. And then let's go from this cycle low and let's take it to 200,000. Right about there. That's only about a 1,200% move. So you can see it's shrinking. And then obviously if you look at the former Trump cycle, whew, this move would have been nutty. About 11,000%. Okay, so we get the idea. Now, just to be super clear, there's always the caveat or risk of some sort of black swan event that just nukes us. So that's always on the table. Like, it just always is, and it's impossible to really predict. Like, say, well, COVID is a great example. This thing got nuked about, like, you can see this giant wick right here. It basically got nuked 60% in a couple weeks. Just absolutely obliterated anyone in the game. I wasn't here at this time, but anyone in that move just got completely shredded, and it would have been really tough to like hold through that and not panic sell. But once again, the people who panic sold that. I mean, a few months later, it went from 3,000 to 60,000. So can you imagine panic selling these lows on this huge dump down here, which is when most people did if you look at the volume. And then you just immediately miss out on like a 1,500% move. So that's why, you know, this market requires a little bit of nuts, you know? You just, like, the short-term turbulence can be scary and it can suck, but, like, think macro. We're in this giga cycle. Now, another thing that I would want to point out that is slightly different is this is the first time that an election cycle happened and the price was already at all-time highs. You can see here it was, you know, it had previously been slightly higher. Over here, this candle did break all-time highs, but I believe the election happened before that point, somewhere around here. So basically, they've happened at all-time highs. Even this one over here is slightly lower, but so this one is a little bit different. I think we're a little bit further along this time, so there might not be quite as much time left, but you can see every single time it was about a year. And I mean, this one technically topped right here, but it was barely. Like this top was 64K, this top was 69K. So that qualifies as a double top, which really threw everyone off. I mean, I got in like up in here and kind of caught the last of this rip, got nuked, and then we rallied back up and we were like, oh, it's gonna push another leg higher, and then didn't happen, got nuked. So I didn't like sell anything. I just held it all the way to the grave. And I've just been buying aggressively. I haven't bought clothes in years. I mean, I've just been putting every spare dollar into this thing. So now we're up real nice. And I'm still like, no way I'm selling at this point. That'd be nuts. Absolutely crazy. Because we still have alt season, which I'll talk about in a second. That is another one of those things where it's just like every single time the Bitcoin tops out, alt season happens. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's not going to happen. You always just kind of go with what historical trends, It could, if it doesn't happen, then I'm financially ruined, and I'm willing to take that bet. So speaking of alt season, which is really why we're all here, right? Because that's where the crazy mind-numbing gains come from. This is Bitcoin dominance. This is super important and slightly more confusing. But basically, when alt season when it happens, this chart goes down. So we want it to go down. So basically what this means is alts start, which is any coin other than Bitcoin, outperform Bitcoin. So you can see the 2017 cycle was really aggressive to the downside. Alts just went crazy, and that was under Trump's reign, so that's interesting. And then what tends to happen is in Bitcoin cycles, Bitcoin dominance goes up for 3 years, and then in the fourth year of the cycle, we go down. It goes down, and that's when alts just shred. And it's simply because the profits from Bitcoin roll into these speculative projects and just pump them to the moon. And then, if you're able to sell into that strength, that's how you win. People that get married to their projects and their little investments get destroyed because, eventually they just top out and get nuked 90%. So here we are. And this is Joe Biden's presidency here that took this down again. Very nice. And we've been going up for about 3 years now, since 2021. And we have actually just experienced the first sign that this is starting to turn. You can see this engulfing monthly candle here. And what we want to see is this drop back down to this trend line, about to 40%. Like Bitcoin dominance, it topped out at 61%, which means that 61% of the crypto market share is in Bitcoin. It's a multi-trillion-dollar asset, so it's like that's where the money's at. And what we're waiting for is people to actually take profits on that, which they will. Trust me. Like Bitcoin gets aggressive bear markets every, if you think about it as 4-year cycles to the top, the 5th year is the down. So, which is technically year 1 of the cycle repeat. It'll make sense if you look into it. But anyways, this is what we're looking for. This move right here. Once this move comes down here to about 40%ish, that's where I'm gonna just start turbo selling everything. I don't really trust the idea that this would break down from this trend line. What's interesting is Bitcoin is weakening in the macro against altcoins. They're eating more of its share. but it's also putting in higher lows. So it's kind of this like wedge-ish pattern that's happening. So yeah, I mean, at this point right here, I'm good. I mean, this move, it doesn't look like much, but I'm telling you, it'll be multi-thousand% gains if this happens. And I do think it's going to happen. If you look a little bit closer here, let's go to like the week. Yeah. So you can see basically for 3 years, this boy has been on top of support on the bull market support band. That's this little band right here. 20-week SMA, 21-week EMA. For the first time, we broke down from that, and we're starting to like falter the support. So this is it's cyclically happening. Like this is normally when it happens on the 4th year of the cycle, which is 2025. So, I mean, this boy is coming down, and when that happens, altcoins will go nuts. If you look at Total 3, let's go to Total 3 here. It, like I was pointing out at the beginning of the video, this boy is shooting up. But you can see that we're only just now challenging the previous cycle high. So in reality, you've missed a good portion of the move if you're still considering, if you still haven't gotten in the game yet. I mean, I just don't even know what you're doing with yourself, but that's beside the point. You can see this cycle went far beyond the previous cycle high. This cycle was potentially one of the biggest ones we'll ever see. That was the 2017 cycle. But I think we're in this point. This was January 2021 right in here. So we're basically at this point in the cycle getting ready to bust out to new all-time highs. You can see that fairly clearly here. This thing is looking juiced, absolutely yoked. And once this busts out into price discovery mode above this high, bruh, that's the banana thrust phase that we're waiting for, this big move here. And it's been turbulent, very chaotic roller coaster ride, emotionally challenging. But we're well on the way. Let's take a look at one more thing. Let's go to IO. That's one of the coins that I called for last video. Where is that boy? I got so many projects here. It's in the AI coin category. Oh, here it is. All right, so IO is a newer token launch. It launched in June of this last year. And of course, I explained in the last video, like, they always get nuked down. Almost always. To the tune of like 90% because of pre-sales and people that bought the token early, and then when it gets launched, it's at a much higher price point than their pre-sale price. So like everyone just wants to like take profits on that. Makes sense. Happens with IPOs too in the stock market. These are called ICOs. But anyways, it got nicked down 90% or so. We saw this bottom pattern form, and last video I was showing you guys like this thing had broken above the accumulation range right down here where these former tops happened. It was testing at a support and ready for launch. So you can see from this video right here, that boy did do a nice juicy 100% move, and it also dumped from that high 45%. That's not a joke. I mean, that's tough. But I'm telling you, we're still above support, this bull market support band here. And we're climbing back up to retest this downward trend line, which is kind of a wedge pattern. And this is just classic. This is so classic. If you've been in the game for a while, you just see these patterns all the time. If this thing busts out from here, to the upside, which I do think it will do, I mean, this boy is going to come up, take out that this middle high here. It's going to come up like this, potentially retest for support on this previous support level and just launch. Or it just blows right through it. So, here's the other option it could do. Say you buy right now. This thing could definitely... Where's my... I need to stop wearing glasses. This thing could definitely come back down again to test for support. Say if the market kind of slows down overall, come back up, then break, then pull back. I mean, so there's plenty of variables that can happen, but the point is, I don't see this thing nuking down here. That would be pretty extreme if that happened. That would be one of those black swan style events, just due to the way the market and the cycle is moving at this point. So this guy, I mean, it's still a fairly safe buy in my opinion. It would have been better if you got in down here when it first broke out of this accumulation range. But I mean, I see this thing going sky high. The market cap is still pretty low, and with a market cap this size, with the amount of tokens that are in circulation, bruh, this thing can rip to like $20, which is like, you'd think I'm crazy. Good grief, I gotta stop doing that. Here, let me just fix my blunders. This thing could straight up just launch off to like potentially $20. That's sort of my price target for this boy, because I've literally witnessed this stuff happen. And the new projects are more risky because you never know. Like, if like a CEO of the project decides to just bail or something, you can see these things nuke 50% instantly. So they are very risky. But this is how you play the game. You know what I mean? Like, these things, it's new tech that's coming out. It's probably, I mean, so here's the main point. Trump has decided to be very pro-crypto and is saying that he wants the U.S. to be the crypto industry leader of the world, and he's put several pro-crypto people in his cabinet, including this new guy. I freaking forgot his name. But the new guy of the SEC, which is what matters most, because Gary Gensler of the SEC currently has been absolutely suppressing and dumping on us in every way possible, like suing every crypto industry and just wreaking havoc on the market. So let's just say this boy does go to 20. It's kind of a far-fetched, not that far-fetched, honestly. I mean, that we're talking about like a 500%. Well, that's if it breaks out. About a 500% move, which is still a... So that's why, like, I'm being conservative. A 500% move. Let's go look at Aave for a second. See what it did last cycle. Aave is a crypto lending platform. It's still very alive and well. I accumulated some down in here at $70, and it's up at, $335. Not bad. But down here, now we're not at this point in the cycle. We've already missed the lows, but just pretend like you bought the low. That's over a 200,000% move. So me saying like something can move 500% is very conservative, okay? So I'm just trying to be like somewhat conservative, because if anything, I'll probably be the guy selling early, because I've been in this for a while, and I'm ready to take some profits for real. And we're about, you can see just about every chart has already bottomed and curled up. So we're headed there. Let's look at ADA real quick. Let's say you bought these cycle lows. This bad boy went up 10,000%. Just still crazy. That's unheard of. And if you would have bought these cycle lows, which I will admit I did, we're already up 300%. So, and we're just like I said, we're just heating up. We're probably in like this period. You can see there was this like little baby run, and it went back down just kind of like over here. This was the COVID dump. You kind of can't count that just because it was a black swan event. But like, so say the Black Swan event didn't happen, it would have been put in a higher low right here, similar to this one right here, and probably climbed up here. So like we're literally like here in the cycle. I've rambled enough. Take it as you will. I'm just sitting here ready for the banana thrust. Peace.